the Paragraphics brass limber holes are applied, and they go on kind of like plating on the side of the hull. Now I want to make them look like an integral part of the hull, so what I have to do now is go back and putty around the edges. So we got them all taped off, and we're going to just use regular squadron green out of a tube and put that on, and then we'll sand it down, and I'll come back with some squadron green mixed up with acetone in like a little slurry paste like you've seen me do before, and smooth it out as much as I can. So let's get to it. Alright, so trusty squadron green, got some 91% alcohol in the bottle, so off we go. Keep the tip of this putty moist with alcohol so it doesn't dry out. And I can't emphasize enough when you're working with large areas of putty like this that if you just keep that alcohol nearby, you can spread it right out. Nice and easy, very workable, and I do not for a second expect that this application here will be enough to have this job go completely smoothly. I'm going to have to go back and work on it a little bit, trim it up. It's just the nature of the beast. Any solvent-based putty will shrink as the solvent evaporates, but the solvent is necessary for the putty to bite, and the putty must bite if you're going to be able to sand it smoothly. Squadron putty has toluene, which is a solvent which will bite into plastic. So I've got a pretty large amount of distance between the Paragraphics limber hull plate and back here, so that way that allows me to gradually blend it back so that it doesn't look very abrupt. And you can also see the fact that I've taped off the brass means I don't have to worry about getting the putty on the brass and having to remove it and all that. Just makes things a lot cleaner job. Looks pretty ugly, but it'll be good in the end. So most of the areas I got with just putty straight up out of the tube, but there are some areas underneath the side portions of the hull there that need a little bit more subtlety. And there is a gap, just takes a little more, like right underneath here. So it doesn't meet exactly. When you start working with aftermarket parts, it's kind of easy to fall into the trap of, oh yeah, I'm going to get that aftermarket part and it's going to make my model look great and it's going to, be wonderful. That's kind of true, but the thing is a lot of aftermarket parts require some advanced techniques and some problem-solving skills, and not everybody's prepared to take those on. So just realize when you start doing things like getting aftermarket decals, like you saw in my last set of videos about the shuttle, if they're not commercial grade, or even if they are commercial grade, sometimes you'll have issues with them that you'll have to overcome. And that's really no different, I guess, than when you build a model and the model is poorly engineered or not accurately engineered perhaps in some ways, and then you have to figure out how to fix things. So that's part of what this hobby is about, is doing the best you can with what you got, and that's okay. We have some wonderful kits manufactured today, and they'll shake and bake. You can just pretty much throw some glue and some paint in the box and shake it around. Out pops a perfect model. That doesn't exist, although we like to talk about it like that. Some of these companies make very, very finely engineered models, and they make it so that the modeler does not have to do a whole lot of problem solving with construction. But they still need advanced skills for painting and whatnot if they want to get high quality. But many models that are still in the market have been designed years ago, like the shuttle, for example, and they're still viable in terms of sales, so they still produce them. Excuse me. Here's all the green putty applied to the limber holes. You can see it's quite a bit here, pretty extensive. It's going to take a bit of work, but it's okay. Just got to be patient. I'm pretty good at working this stuff, so it'll be alright. First round of sanding is complete, and you can see how I took quite a bit of space here and here to blend this properly. These things sit up, they're thin, but they're not that thin. So if you don't blend them over, like this is probably ½ inch or so, maybe more, then the step will be there. Also notice these areas right here and here. Now I don't know how I did this, but just handling this, I ended up bending these here and here and here, and some on the back as well. So now I got to go back and putty these areas. Also, you'll notice that these areas that are dark, those are areas that are low lights. And so when I start talking to you about squadron putty and a paste mix like this, just regular putty mixed with acetone, and you can go back and fill in these areas. That's a very effective way of dealing with it. Again, any solvent-based putty shrinks, and to use them properly, to use it well, you have to go back sometimes with multiple applications. And here you can see how rough it is, here with one application, and so I'm going to need to go back and work on this some more. Some low light areas here. Anywhere you see where it's darker is not up to the same level that the rest of the putty is. So that's why you go back and do the paste mix. So that's what I'm going to do now. Here's the forward hull done, essentially, and I've got the brass integrated in. I had a couple damage areas I had to repair here. Stuff can be pretty fragile if you're not careful handling it. And I went with the 17-footer windows, which without the framing, because I think that looks better. And the bottom here, I've got some flat black spray paint, light blocked. And so that's all good. A little overspray here, no big deal. And here's the stern area. That's all good. You can see this required quite a bit of putty work. There's a diving bell bay. So I'm real happy with this. It took a bit of work to do, but got it all done, so can move on.